Do you want to find a stress-free way to buy your next car? Start at CarMax and shop your way. If you want to browse with confidence, get pre-qualified online with no impact on your credit score and shop cars within your budget, from luxury cars to family rides. CarMax has options for almost every price range, including more than 25,000 cars priced under $25,000. So hey, want to get started? Just head to CarMax.com for details and get pre-qualified today. Want to drive? CarMax.
Hey listeners, this is Peter and welcome back to the History Shorts. Today's episode is brought to you by the Podcast Republic, your ultimate listening app. Discover and subscribe to thousands of podcasts from around the world. Download Podcast Republic today, available on Google Play and the Apple App Store. Today on History Shorts. In the British Museum in London, there is a small bronze sculpture. It shows a woman. She is armed. She holds a sika, the curved short sword associated with the class of gladiator called the threx. She wears a loincloth and a wide belt. Her right arm is raised in what scholars interpret as a gesture of victory. She has no helmet. Her face is turned toward the viewer. She is approximately 2,000 years old. She is one of the only confirmed physical representations of a female gladiator in the entire archaeological record of the Roman Empire. And she is proof of something that most people, even most students of Roman history, do not know. And that is that women fought in the Roman arena. Our history brief today returns to the History Shorts Conversation Series Vault and a chat with author Roger Morehouse. A quick word from our sponsors.
Now I'd like to introduce you to Meaningful Beauty, the famed skincare brand created by iconic supermodel Cindy Crawford. It's her secret to absolutely gorgeous skin. Meaningful Beauty makes powerful and effective skincare simple, and it's loved by millions of women. It's formulated for all ages and all skin tones and types, and it's designed to work as a complete skincare system, leaving your skin feeling soft, smooth, and nourished. I recommend starting with Cindy's full regimen, which contains all 5 of her best-selling products, including the amazing youth-activating Melon Serum. This next-generation serum has the power of melon leaf stem cell technology. It's melon leaf stem cells encapsulated for freshness and released onto the skin to support a visible reduction in the appearance of wrinkles. With thousands of glowing 5-star reviews, why not give it a try? Subscribe today and you can get the amazing Meaningful Beauty system for just $49.95. That includes our introductory 5-piece system, free gifts, free shipping, and a 60-day money-back guarantee. All of that available at meaningfulbeauty.com.
This day in history. On June 3rd, 1888, the poem Casey at the Bat was first published, becoming one of the most famous works in American sports literature. On June 3rd, 1989, Chinese authorities began a violent crackdown on pro-democracy demonstrators gathered in Beijing's Tiananmen Square, an event that shocked the world and remains heavily censored in China. Story of the day. The gladiatorial games were for 5 centuries one of the defining institutions of Roman public life. They were not merely entertainment, they were spectacle in the fullest Roman sense. Displays of courage, endurance, and skilled violence that carried deep ideological significance about what it meant to face death with dignity. The gladiator, trained, equipped, disciplined, capable of fighting and dying with style, embodied a set of Roman values that the audience came to witness and to measure themselves against. The gladiators themselves were, paradoxically, both celebrated and socially degraded. They were stars. Their images appeared on lamps, bottles, and mosaics across the empire. They were also infames, people of legally diminished status, associated with the socially marginal world of the arena. A Roman citizen who voluntarily entered gladiatorial training surrendered certain legal rights. This paradox, admired for their skill, degraded for their profession, applied to female gladiators in an especially charged way. Because in Rome, the arena was a male spectacle, and women in the arena upset something fundamental about how Romans understood this social order. The ancient sources that mention female gladiators are very few, but they are specific. The Roman historian Tacitus, writing in the 1st century AD, describes women of noble birth. He emphasizes their high social status with evident disapproval, fighting in the arena during the reign of Nero. The satirist Juvenal, writing in the late 1st and early 2nd century AD, describes women training with weapons and fighting in the arena with a contempt that is itself evidence of the practice's existence. You do not satirize something that isn't happening. The Roman historian Cassius Dio describes a spectacle organized by Emperor Domitian, who ruled from 81 to 96 AD, in which women fought by torchlight, which he presents as one of several exotic and transgressive elements of Domitian's games. What these sources share is a constant tone of disapproval or satirical mockery. The female gladiator was not celebrated in Roman literature, that's for sure. She was treated as evidence of social disorder, a sign that the proper boundaries between male and female, citizen and gladiator, respectable and degraded, were being violated. The women who fought in the arena came from two very different social worlds. Some were enslaved women or women of low social status, people who entered the arena under compulsion or financial desperation, in the same circumstances that drove many male gladiators to the same profession. Others, and this is what scandalized Roman writers, were women of high birth. Aristocratic women, even women connected to senatorial families, apparently volunteered for arena combat. Why they did so is a question the sources do not answer with any sympathy. Juvenal suggests exhibitionism and moral degeneracy. Modern historians have proposed more nuanced explanations. The arena as a space of unusual freedom, the gladiatorial subculture as generally attractive to women who found in it a physical and social autonomy unavailable to them elsewhere in Roman life. The arena was, paradoxically, one of the few Roman public spaces where a woman could command an audience's full attention through her own skill and courage rather than through her relationship to a man. And that possibility, transgressive, dangerous, and real, may have been precisely the point. The British Museum bronze is the most significant physical evidence, but it is not the only archaeological trace. At Halkiassis in present-day Turkey, the city now known as Bodrum, archaeologists discovered an inscription commemorating two female gladiators named Amazonia and Achillea. The inscription records that they fought each other to a draw and were both granted the rudis, the wooden sword that symbolized honorable release from the obligation to continue fighting. The names are also quite significant here. Amazonia evokes the mythological female warrior of Greek tradition. Achillea is a feminine version of the name Achilles, the greatest warrior of the Trojan War. Female gladiators appear to have adopted the same tradition of arena names as their male counterparts, names that carried martial weight and mythological symbolism. Amazonia and Achillea fought well enough that whoever commissioned their inscription considered their draw worth commemorating in stone. That inscription has survived 2,000 years. Their actual identities, however, have not. The practice of female gladiatorial combat was banned by a decree of the Roman Senate in about 200 AD under Emperor Septimius Severus. The decree specifically prohibited women of free birth from entering the arena. The language of the decree, as recorded in ancient sources, reflects the same social anxieties that run through literary references. Concerned about the degradation of respectable women, about the blurring of social categories, about the spectacle of free-born women performing the role of infames. The ban tells us two important things. First, that female gladiatorial combat had been common enough and persistent enough to require a formal legislative response. You do not ban things that aren't happening after all. Second, that the Roman establishment ultimately could not tolerate what the female gladiator represented, a woman who claimed, through her own body and her own skill, a space that the social order had not assigned to her. The female gladiators of Rome left almost nothing behind: a bronze sculpture in London, an inscription in Turkey, a handful of hostile literary references, and the silence of a history that did not want to remember them. And yet, here we are. The History Brief. The following excerpt comes from a past History Shorts conversation series chat with the author of Wolfpack Inside Hitler's U-Boat War. You can find the entire conversation with Roger Morehouse wherever you're listening to this episode.
It has been, the subject's been written about quite a lot, but it's almost always written about from the perspective of, the surface of the destroyers and the escorts and so on, the merchantmen, in the English speaking historiography. So to sort of flip that by 180 degrees, I thought, well, that would be a really interesting approach, to actually flip it from the perspective of the surface to the perspective of the U-boat, and sort of say, well, what did it look like for them? What was their experience of the Battle of the Atlantic? What did they eat? What is it like to spend 2 months on a U-boat? But I just look at the German stuff, and it is horrific. They've got young men going into the service who really don't know what they're doing. They don't know what they're expecting, and their life expectancy by the end of the war, the last year of the war, is less than one mission. Is effectively going out on suicide missions. So he used to kind of escape, and the only place he knew to go was like the family home. But for him, it was a life sentence. He'd spent the rest of his short life in a series of psychiatric hospitals. Yeah, I mean the average age of U-boatmen in World War II is 22, which is kind of astonishing. And then by the end of the war, you're into the sort of third generation of commanders, who are people in many cases who hadn't even been in the Kriegsmarine at the beginning of the war.
Thank you so much for spending some time with me today and helping make this little show such a mighty success. If you're enjoying this show and would like to help with its production, you can always donate a few dollars at buymeacoffee.com or become a Patreon member to enjoy these episodes ad-free. Both links can be found on our website at www.historyshortspodcast.com. Make sure you also check out our YouTube channel, where we have different series and videos that are not part of this main feed. Have a great rest of your day, and I will talk to you all again tomorrow.